Welcome to our deeper lesson. Now, yesterday we learned about Jesus taking care of us. What we're talking about today goes right along with that. Today we're learning about Jesus being strong. What do these two things have to do with each other? Why do we have to be strong to take care of someone else? Well, it's helpful if the person can take care of you is stronger than you too. Imagine if a bully was bothering you, who would you want standing up for you? A kid that is bigger than the bully or a little baby in a stroller? Well, there are many different kinds of problems that we face. Troubles at school or troubles at home, sickness, fear or sadness, feelings like we don't matter. We need someone with us who is bigger than all of our troubles. Someone who is stronger than any problem we could ever face. Jesus is that someone. Jesus is strong. Now, in today's story, we learn just how strong Jesus is. Jesus had a friend named Lazarus. Now, Lazarus had two sisters named Mary and Martha, who were also friends of Jesus. One day, Jesus received a message asking him to come to their home in the town of Bethany because Lazarus was very sick. His friends knew that Jesus was strong, so they wanted Jesus to come to Bethany and heal Lazarus. But bad news. When Jesus arrived in Bethany, Lazarus had died from his sickness. But the good news, Jesus is stronger than even Martha and Mary could imagine. So let's go ahead and look into our Bible and read about it. So this story is found in John chapter 11, verses 17 through 44. When Jesus arrived, he found out that Lazarus had already been in the tomb for 4 days. Bethany was less than 2 miles from Jerusalem. Many Jews had come to Martha and Mary. They had comforted them because their brother was dead. When Martha heard that Jesus was coming, she went out to meet him. But Mary stayed home. Lord, Martha said to Jesus, I wish you had been there. Then my brother would not have died. But I know that even now God will give you anything you ask for. Jesus said to her, your brother will rise again. Martha answered, I know he will rise again. This will happen when people are raised from the dead on the last day. Jesus said to her, I am the resurrection and the life. Anyone who believes in me will live, even if he dies. And those who live and believe in me will never die. Do you believe this? Yes, Lord, she said. I believe that you are the Christ, the Son of God. I believe that you are the one who is supposed to come into the world. After she said this, she went back home. She called her sister Mary to one side to talk to her. The teacher is here, Martha said. He is asking for you. When Mary heard this, she got up quickly and went to him. Jesus had not yet entered the village. Some Jews had been comforting Mary in the house. They noticed how quickly she got up and went out. So they followed her. They thought she was going to the tomb to cry there. Mary reached to the place where Jesus was. When she saw him, she fell to his feet. Then she said, Lord, I wish you had come here sooner, but my brother would not have died. Jesus saw her crying. he saw that the Jews who had come along with her were crying also. His spirit became very sad, and he was troubled. "Where have you put him?" he asked. "Come and see, Lord," they replied, and Jesus sobbed. Then the Jews said, "See how much he loved him?" But some of them said, "He opened the eyes of a blind man. Couldn't he have kept the man from dying?" Once more, Jesus felt very sad. He came to the tomb. It was a cave with a stone in front of it for the entrance. "Take away the stone," he said. "But Lord," said Martha, the sister of the dead man, "by this time there is a bad smell. Lazarus has been in the tomb for 4 days." Then Jesus said, "Didn't I tell you that if you believed, you would see God's glory?" So they took away the stone. Then Jesus looked up and he said, "Father, I thank you for hearing me. I know that you always hear me, but I said this for the benefit of the people standing here. I said it so they will believe that you sent me." Then Jesus called in a loud voice. He said, "Lazarus, come out." The dead man came out. His hands and feet were wrapped with strips of linen. A cloth was around his face. Jesus said to them, "Take off the clothes he was buried in and let him go." Wow. That's a great story. Now, Jesus is strong, and he doesn't just have the power to heal the sick. He has power over life and death. In fact, Jesus came into the world to conquer death and to give us everlasting life. Now, tomorrow, we're going to talk about how Jesus made a way for us to live forever with him. Now, Mary and Martha knew Jesus was strong. They had seen him heal people. They thought Jesus could come and heal their sick brother. But when Lazarus died, they lost hope. They thought that was the end of the story. But Jesus is strong. But everyone's strength has a limit. All of our strength is limited. They both shared their disappointment with him. At 2 different times, Mary and Martha said to Jesus, "If only you'd been here, my brother would have not died." Now, Jesus loved Mary and Martha and Lazarus, and he wanted to share them or show them his love, not only his strength. So Jesus went to the cave where Lazarus' body had been lying. He told the people to move the stone away. He prayed to God the Father, thanking him for always hearing. That's important. We want to make sure we're always thanking God for different blessings that he has given us. Then Jesus called out in a loud voice, "Lazarus, come out." And you know what happened? Lazarus came out. Now, he was still wrapped in his grave clothing, so probably kind of looked like a mummy as he walked out. But Jesus had risen him from death. Jesus did that. Now, what problems do you face today? Maybe things are difficult at school. Maybe you're having problems with some friends. Maybe things aren't quite right at home. I mean, even with all the time that we're spending at home and not being able to see our friends quite the same way, or, school, the last bit of the school year didn't go as usual. things can be very overwhelming. Now, what I want you to remember is that Jesus is strong, and he loves us, and he wants to be able for us to come to him, ask him for help, and rest in his strength. Now, so many times we try to be strong on our own. I know I do. And it can be tiring. And sometimes our problems in life are just too big. And it's hard for just us to face it alone. But they're not too big for Jesus. And Jesus is strong enough to handle these problems for us. So let's go to him first. Let's ask him for help. Let's trust him to see us through every situation, because we know that Jesus is strong. All right, let's go ahead and wrap this up in a prayer. Dear God, you are strong and powerful. Thank you for loving us and helping us in many different ways. In Jesus' name, amen. All right. We'll see you a little bit later. Bye.